Americans are feeling the pain of rising prices, and a new report out just today shows they are not dropping anytime soon.
Inflation. We hear this word almost every single day, on the news, on social media, even from the cashier. But what is this really, and how might it devastate your life, or can it be one of the greatest opportunities in your lifetime? So what is inflation? Rising prices, weakening power of the dollar, supply shortages, increasing minimum wage? Well, to answer, it's all of the above. Investopedia defines inflation as the decline of purchasing power of a given currency over time. Let's use the dollar for our currency, using a Big Mac as reference. To buy a Big Mac in 2010, it costs $3.73. In 2021, that same Big Mac cost $5.65. So while the Big Mac hasn't changed, the price to purchase one increased by over 50% just in a little bit over 10 years. While that doesn't define the entire picture of how inflation is causing prices to rise, we can see how things have been getting more expensive over time. So what's causing inflation? Well, to put it simply, many things. Inflation can be caused by supply and labor shortages, wage increases, increase in the prices of raw materials such as oil and lumber, and government spending and printing of money. So why is inflation surging right now? To understand the current situation of the inflation crisis, we have to take a step back to see where it all began. While pundits may deny this, a major cause of inflation in the United States is due to government policies and overspending. The US economy was devastated last year, as we all know, at the peak of the pandemic. In order to get the economy back up, or to stimulate the economy, the Trump administration enacted several stimulus bills, or more known as the CARES Act, to get the economy going. The CARES Act gave loans and money to businesses, hospitals, manufacturers, state and local governments, and most importantly, to the everyday citizens such as you and I in the form of stimulus checks. Flush with money and fed up with the almost never-ending lockdowns, many consumers resorted to spending on consumer staples such as paper towels, home improvement, cars, etc. But also spending on non-staple items such as luxury clothing, meme stocks, overpriced food on Uber Eats and DoorDash. However, many businesses cannot keep up with the consumer demand due to labor shortages, caused by mostly lower paid workers who chose to continue receiving unemployment versus going back to work, which then affects the transportation and production of goods because of the lower workforce, which causes supply chain issues as things don't arrive on time because there aren't enough people to actually even deliver those products. But then there's consumers flush with cash from all the stimulus wanting more of these products, ultimately resulting in businesses deciding to raise prices because 1, it costs more money and time to produce their goods, 2, power is in their hands because they control supply, and because demand is so high, why the heck not? To wrap it up, the pandemic and subsequent stimulus packages helped fuel demand pull as well as cost push inflation, where in demand pull, as we've mentioned, low supply and high demand, and cost push, where the increase in prices of raw materials and wages drive up prices for everything else. Historically speaking, there hasn't been a strong correlation between stimulus and inflation, but most of the past historical stimulus pale in comparison to the scale of stimulus that we've seen since the start of the pandemic. Over 40% of US dollars in existence have been printed since early in the pandemic last year. Now, it makes sense to input stimulus to stimulate the economy when it is faltering, but to stimulate it continuously when the economy is moving leads to excessive cash, devaluing of the currency, free money for workers who don't work, causing supply issues with high demand and low supply, driving up prices for everyone. So before you thank Biden for the every month, week, day stimulus checks, childcare checks, free college, Build Back Better bill that all involve spending trillions and trillions of dollars that don't exist, but will exist only by the government printing more money, think about what it'll mean for you and your wallet when you now have to spend $50 for a Big Mac instead of the current price of around $6, which in my honest opinion is already damn expensive. So what can we do about this whole inflation thing? There are two types of people during inflation. Number one, people who complain about rising prices, but are happy with their stimulus checks, but are stuck in their stagnant wage jobs, but again, are happy with the small amount of extra money that has increased in their bank accounts. They then use that extra little bit of money to buy that Balenciaga shoe or Gucci belt that they've always wanted to post up on Instagram to get a couple of likes and feel validation from other broke dudes writing comments on their post with things such as "Go King" or "Flex," and other words that are only written from jealousy and not from admiration. They sometimes think they're investing by putting money into meme stocks at their all-time high or crypto at their all-time high without any clear strategy or insight or research, just blind betting. And then there's the people who are strategic and smart about inflation, what it entails, and how they can best prepare to beat it, or even just staying afloat. The second type of person doesn't spend their stimulus check on a Balenciaga shoe nor stores it in his or her bank account, knowing that money saved is money that stayed back, meaning not doing anything with the money is causing it to lose its value due to inflation. Instead, this second person uses that money to buy assets to hedge against inflation that include but are not limited to real estate, commodities, stocks, and crypto, after doing thorough research on their own terms, not because everyone on Wall Street bets tells them to. So how do investable assets hold up against inflation? For the sake of this video, we will look at how stocks performed against inflation. On the chart below, you can see the S&P, which is a measure of some of the largest companies in the world and how it performed throughout history versus inflation. As you can see in this chart, the blue indicates the return for S&P, whereas orange represents inflation. With the exception of a few years, the stock market has always performed better than inflation. I'm not here to tell you you have to buy stock, nor is this any financial advice, and everyone should make their own decision. But from the data and from experiences, both personal and from others, the best bet to beat inflation, especially in crazy times like this, is to buy stock and hold. Sure, there are many great traders out there who make a killing trading everything from stocks, crypto, real estate, you name it. But for the everyday person like you and I, we just don't have the time and resources to be looking at charts, to be researching companies, and to be looking at news all day to make some decisions on what to buy, for how long, and when to sell. So what worked best for us and works best throughout time is buying stock and holding and letting it grow. We know how difficult it is to be looking at the countless brokers that are out there and to be doing research on stocks and to figure out what to buy. However, online shopping on the other hand is so easy and is done almost every single day. Using myself as an example, I buy almost everything from Amazon, while buying stock almost never. I thought, how nice would it be to be able to buy stock just as easy as it is to buy something from Amazon online? Then I thought, what if I could just buy stock of the company on the site I'm shopping on and see the information right there without having to go through a bunch of different things? From that thought, I created Doe, which is a Chrome extension that allows you to buy stock, see the forecasted returns, and do research all on the same page you're shopping on. Here's how it works. Let's say you're buying a pair of jeans on Gap that cost $69.95. Doe automatically calculates the amount of shares of Gap you could purchase for $69.95 based on what the current price of one share of Gap stock currently is. Let's say it's $140. Doe calculates that you could get about 0.5 shares of stock if you use $69.95 to buy Gap stock. It also calculates what the expected return can be based on historical returns. Let's say Gap returned an average of 10% a year. Doe shows you what that $69.95 would be worth a year from now based on historic returns. It also shows analysts' rating, whether you should buy, hold, or sell the stock, news on that company, some company financials for those who are interested, all within the same pop-up. To wrap it up, inflation is crazy and it can be scary. There are many causes that are not within our reach to control. One thing we can do though to be better equipped to hedge against inflation is to buy stock and to hold. Our extension that we've created helps you do that just as easy as it is to buy a pair of jeans online. To be one of the first users, go to this link or click on this link listed below. Simply enter your email address and we'll let you know once this is live and running. Hopefully this video was helpful in understanding what inflation is, why it's being caused, how to tackle it, and what's in it for you. Inflation can devastate us, or we can use it for our advantage by beating it with stock. If this video was great, please leave a thumbs up and share. If it was good, or even if it was bad, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll be sure to address them in our future videos.